Welcome to the Den of Tools.
Howdy y'all, I'm Jeff King. Welcome back to the Den of Tools, and today we're talking about the new DeWALT battery power stack that everybody and their brother on YouTube and on the interwebs and everything else has been talking about. But I took some time before jumping on this with everyone else because I wanted to find out more about the tech, because as soon as I saw this picture, I had concerns. And I'm not trying to say the sky is falling, and maybe I'm entirely wrong, but let's talk about it. Let's discuss what's going on here. So this is their new battery, and what they're touting here is 25% more compact, double asterisk. 15% less weight, double asterisk. 50% more power, double asterisk. So before we get into the asterisk, this sounds great because they've been pushing this whole thing with the atomic line. And I like the atomic line. It's compact, almost 12 volt size with 20 volt power. What's not to love about that, right? I always love smaller tools with more power. It's hard to argue with that. And here's a battery that's going to put more power into those tools. Seems like a fantastic idea. Well, here's the thing, the double asterisk, let's start off with that. That refers to the DCB203 battery, and that is this battery here. That is their standard baseline, not including the really super cheap ones you get in the combo kits that don't even have the little indicator on it, the little 1.5s or whatever. This is their standard. If you go out and buy a battery, this is what you're probably going to get as a base model. And it's a 2 amp hour battery. It's got 5 of the 18650 cells in it. Just standard old tech's, been around for a long time at this point. Nothing fancy about it. And honestly, at this point, anything would pretty much be an upgrade over that. But let's take a look at this again. When you look at this, you see these flat packs. Well, that's how they're getting the denser size. They're getting better use of space. If you take a square, you put it into a square space, you're going to get better use of space than putting a circle in a square space or rectangular space. You get what I'm saying. You don't have all that empty space left between the cylinders like you do on an 18650 or 21700 cell. But what are these? What's the chemistry in these? And the reason I'm leading up to this is because I've seen stuff that looks like this before, and that's what concerns me. So typically, this is what we see. These are called cell pouches, often called a gel pouch or gel cell as well, as opposed to the 18650s you see in the background there. They're flat, makes them great for thin form factors. You can wedge them in all sorts of places. That makes them, very optimal. And usually they have a chemistry that allows for very high output. And the reason for that is most of them are lithium polymer versus lithium ion. Now here, I'll let you see the pros and the cons, and you can take that however you want and add it up. But we're going to talk about some of the other cons here in just a minute. Here's the one thing I want to point out. Every time somebody refers to as lithium polymer, they leave out part of the definition, and this is going to become relevant later. It's actually lithium ion polymer. There's no lithium polymer and then lithium ion. Lithium polymer is a version of a lithium ion cell. So if someone says, yeah, it's a lithium ion cell, that doesn't mean it's not also a lithium ion polymer cell. Now, I did a bunch of research and scanned every source I know for battery packs. And everything I was able to find that came in the size and shape. Now, these cells, these new ones, are rated at 1.7 amp hours at 20 volts. Well, it's 20 volts max, of course, which means it's like 18.5. So that's a 3.7 cell at 1700 milliamps. And everything I find here is a lithium ion polymer cell. Every single one. I could not find any that were not listed as polymer. I don't even know if they make high output polymer cells or high output flat cells or cell pouches or whatever that are not polymer. I don't know if that's possible. That said, I reached out to DeWALT because on their website, when you go and you look for it, in the small print, it says, shut up, Moto, I'm talking here. When you look at their fine print, it says clearly this is lithium ion. Doesn't say anything about polymer. But you got to remember, DeWALT's also the first company that called that started the whole 20 volt max thing when it's really an 18 volt, but it's max 20 volt. And they just, because they put the word max there, it makes it okay. This is, by the way, if you think I'm making too much out of it, most other countries have called that false advertising and make them advertise as 18 volt. But anyway, going forward, I reached out to DeWALT and I said, can you confirm that these are not lithium polymer batteries? And their response, you can see on the screen, is Hi, Jeff. We appreciate your question. The Power Stack batteries are lithium ion. Thanks. Well, at first glance, you're like, oh, well, they're lithium ion. But lithium polymer are lithium ion. So she did not deny what I stated. And the fact that Dearest there left, sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. The fact that she left that out, I find concerning. Either say they don't have polymer, or they do have polymer. It's a simple question, and I find the answer. Maybe I'm being hypercritical, but I find the answer a bit evasive. Now, that said, I did some searching online. Pro Tool reviews, and I'll put a link to their article because they got this first. They claim the big deal behind DeWalt Power Stack batteries is the use of stacked, and I quote, lithium ion polymer pouches instead of cylindrical cells. Now, maybe they misquoted. Maybe they just jumped to the conclusion. But I was already looking there. They're saying it. And as I understand it, I think they were at the announcement. I could be wrong about that. They got pictures that look like they were, so maybe they were. But why am I keep going on this whole polymer thing? Why is polymer an issue? Because polymer is a bit volatile. Okay. In fact, I would say it's more volatile. Correct me. I am not an expert on batteries. I've done a lot of stuff with batteries. I've done a lot of hobby stuff with them, but I don't claim to be an expert. All right. I'm following work that other people have done. There are lots of videos though online that will show you exactly what I'm talking about. They puff up, they explode, they catch on fire. Now lithium batteries can do just the same, but polymer batteries, because their high discharge rate, seem to be more susceptible and more dangerous when it comes to this. Now, a lot of my experience comes with, if you don't know, I'm also, hey, let me scroll this over. I'm also believe it or not, an FAA certified pilot for drones. And I've done a lot of drone work as a side kind of hobby business kind of thing. And it's one of the things you have to deal with in RC and drone life kind of stuff is because for that high output in a small package, they all use lithium ion polymer batteries, which is why most people who do this have bags just like this. We store our batteries in those bags because they can explode, and not just when they're charging. There's been many a tale of a battery just sitting there puffing up and catching on fire while you're just sitting there doing nothing with it. And that's why people have bags like this, to prevent the unfortunate incidences. And if you're going to have these batteries, and they do turn out, in fact, to be lithium ion polymer, there's going to be a whole new change to the way we handle our tools and we handle the batteries. Like leaving them on charge overnight is going to be a big no-no. You're not going to do that anymore. You're going to have bags like this for storage, especially if you're mobile kind of stuff, especially if you're at home. That's not the kind of thing you're just leave them on the shelf kind of thing. It's going to be hard for me to communicate to you how big an issue this is if you have not been part of these communities. Now, I've seen this battery tech show up other places that have concerned me. I had an MSI laptop, one of these super slim ones that I got, and unbeknownst to me, I didn't even think about the fact that it would come with a lithium polymer battery. And in fact, the new MacBooks have them as well. Well, if you're been following the channel for a while, you probably saw my live streams where I was completely frustrated because the battery in my laptop did not catch on fire, but it expanded, curving the laptop, breaking the whole thing. I had to take the whole thing apart, properly dispose of that battery before something bad happened. There was a whole fiasco involved with that, which is something unfortunate when you get a piece of tech like that. Now, granted, a laptop's a lot more expensive than your average, tool or something like that. But still, there is a safety hazard here, and it feels like DeWalt is brushing it under the carpet. Now, let's take a look at what we have here. We got the DeWalt 20 volt max power stack compact battery. If you notice, nowhere on the battery does it talk about the amp hours or the wattage or any of that stuff. And I find that telling that they don't want to discuss that, because what they're trying to push is 50% more, 25% more, 15% less, all this kind of stuff. They don't want to talk about it because it's technically it is less amp hours, but because of the chemistry, I believe it can deliver that faster. It's interesting though, because when they talk about let me go back to the first page here. When they talk about the power. Where was it? They put this little cross thing down here. We go down, we look at the cross, and it says, versus a model DCB 203, not in application. What does that mean? Now, somebody smarter than me, put it down in the comments, because I'm confused. Because if somebody says, hey, this thing is much more powerful, but not in application, that means it has potential power, but when we put it in this tool, it doesn't. Then what's the point of that? Is it just because it's smaller, it's a different battery tech, it gets them off of 18650 and 21700 cells and lets them be different than everyone else? Maybe that's the case. I don't know. They also have a 2-pack of these, and they have a pack with a charger. It says it combined a dependable lithium-ion solution, but again, lithium polymer is still lithium-ion. I don't know. Let me know what you think. If you've got more information on this, put it down in the comments. I would love to hear what your thoughts are. If you think that that I'm blowing the whole lithium-ion polymer issue out of proportion, first of all, make sure you're educated on the topic. And if you are educated, then tell me why I'm wrong. Don't just say, oh, you're just wrong because I want to believe DeWalt puts out good products. I've always thought that the reason that they did not put lithium-ion polymer in tools is because of how people use them. You throw them around, they drop them, all this kind of stuff. That easily damages a LiPo cell. It doesn't have the hard metallic case like you see on an 18650. And any kind of breach, any kind of damage to that cell is what can cause it when the next time you charge it or discharge it, cause it to expand, cause it to have a catastrophic failure. And I'm surprised to see this going into portable battery tech for the power tool industry. Anyway, let me know what you think. I'm not going to beat a dead horse over this anymore. Again, I think it's a little crazy, but let's hear what the community thinks. And while you're down there, don't forget to chomp the old like button, smash the subscribe, ring the bell on your way out. You all take care, God bless, and as always, shine on.